Come closer and listen well. In the forgotten mountains of Nereth, where even the wolves no longer dare to howl, there lived a man named Kael Varn, once a glorious warrior, a captain of the Iron Legions who had led battles that songs no longer sing. But war had taken everything from him, his one love, his daughter, and above all, his little sister. The last light left in his dark heart. He had held her in his arms until her final breath, or under a rain of blood and ashes. The story begins.
Long ago, in the forbidden mountains called Nereth, there was a night so dark and so cold that even the stars seemed afraid to shine. The wind howled like a wounded wolf through the rocks, and deep down in that dark valley, something very ancient was waiting. A narrow path carved into the rock like an old scar. Few men had ever dared to walk it. And on that lonely path walked a man who had already lost everything. His name was Kael Varn, and his face carried the marks of too many battles and too much sorrow. Around his neck, he carried the only thing he had left of his sister, an old bronze medal that never left his side. Sometimes at night, the memories would return, sharp as knives cutting into his heart. And then there was her, his little sister, with that smile that could warm the coldest winter night. But war had taken her away, and Kael had held her in his arms until she drew her very last breath. So he kept walking through the storm, because stopping would mean dying all over again. That night, a small dying fire waited for him on a rocky ledge, the last bit of warmth left in all that cold. And then he pulled an old letter from his pocket, a letter that should never have existed. It was written in her handwriting. You could almost hear her voice whispering in the wind. The words said, "Kael, don't come." But deep inside, he already knew he had to go. He closed his eyes tight and felt his heart being crushed inside his chest. When he opened them again, something deep inside him had changed. With one heavy boot, he crushed the fire, like crushing his last remaining hope. And so he continued toward Velmora, the lost city that even the old legends warned never to seek. Then suddenly, the wind fell completely silent, as if the mountain itself was holding its breath. The stars above seemed farther away than ever, as though time itself was starting to twist and bend. And in that silence, he heard it clearly, a whisper coming from the rising mist. The mist rose higher and higher, and from within it, a figure slowly appeared. She looked so much like his sister, and yet something about her felt terribly wrong. She raised her hand gently, as if calling him to come closer and join her in the mist. And then, just as suddenly as she had appeared, she vanished back into the swirling mist like a fading dream. Kael's hand moved to his sword, his heart beating harder than the storm itself. He quickened his steps, because he now knew he was no longer walking alone. His breathing grew heavy, as if the cold air itself was pressing down on his chest. and far below in the darkness, the ruins of Velmora finally appeared before his eyes. Kael stopped at the edge of the valley, and in that moment he understood. His true journey had only just